This show is proudly brought to you by the #Me Network. Access granted.
Kia ora, and thanks so much for tuning in to episode 33 of Access Granted, your weekly tech and media podcast. I'm Raj, my background's film design, technology, and all sorts of other stuff.
And I'm Mike, and my background is information wrangling, connecting people and getting things done.
And you're here because you're a Kiwi that either works in or has a great passion for technology and media in New Zealand.
Episode 33, later we catch up with Vaughan from Vend, but first our focus for the week. You've got a question, Raj.
Why is it so difficult for people to get into the cloud or think about getting into the cloud or thinking about what the hell the cloud is? Why, Mike? Why is this a big issue out there?
Well,
I too am dealing with this at a couple of firms, and so I want to ask the Oracle of Cloud, Mike Riversdale, what is the problem? What's up with that?
There was also the Zero put out a podcast or a video last week as well, which we tweeted, which basically asked the same question. It's interesting, New Zealand landscape is 95% of the companies that are out there are 5 people or less. I think for most small businesses, and in New Zealand it's small businesses, and even what we call medium-sized businesses. So what's the business you're talking about? How many people?
They're about 40-odd, and then I've got another organisation that's about 40-odd.
Okay.
And then one's, basically 5 to whatever.
So they're small businesses.
Yeah, they're still classed as small, right?
Yeah. I think the biggest issue for these companies is brain space. They're doing what they do. They're doing their business, which is painting or advertising or whatever it is that they actually do, and they don't have the brain space to stop and go, is there a better way of doing that boring stuff called IT? Because it is boring. It's not what they run their business with, and they've got something that works. Someone's told them install this software on a machine or get this wee little server, and fine, God, it just works. I don't care. I'm just going to keep going.
Yeah.
And now we've moved on 5, 6, 7, 8 years of cloud, and we all know there is a better way of doing it. For most people, it's like, I don't care. I just don't care.
Yeah.
I've got other things to do. Yes, there's a million benefits. So it's a hard sell of, getting between them and their problems and saying there is a solution. So the classic I used to say was, I don't know anything about cars. This is the thing, I don't know anything about cars. If I have a problem with a car, I take it to the garage and I say fix it.
Right.
And every time those people in the garage might be diddling me and saying, oh, you need this certain fancy thing, charging me $1,000. I don't know that there's another way of doing that, and someone says, oh, just do this, Mike, and then your car's fixed, and also it's only cost you $2 a year. If I knew that, I'd do it. But I don't. I take my car to the garage because I don't know anything about cars.
Has it always done that?
And I've no concern, no interest of learning how to do cars. And I think that's how most people run their business. They don't want to know about IT.
They just want it to work.
They just want it to work, and if I have to pay someone to just fix this bloody thing, go on. So it's a hard sell in New Zealand because there isn't the brain. If you're in other places in the world, thank you very much. Coffee has been delivered. I think if you're in other places of the world, you're bigger, so you've got an IT man that you've hired whose job is to make sure you do things properly. But if you're only 5 people, or 40 people, just get on with your job. Interestingly, it's one of the things that you've been tasked with, isn't it? I know in this place, you have become that. There must be a better way, but we don't know what to do. Hey, Raj.
Shuffling ideas,
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's 1, here's 2, here's 3, here's 50.
Yeah.
We should really pick one sooner or later. Yeah.
And then there's the next one, I think, is the biggest one is, I want to change and get everything cheaper and better and harder and faster, but don't make me change in anything that I do.
Yes.
So I've got Word 98 on my machine. I want to change to the cloud, but by God, it better work like Word 98.
It has to be the same.
And it's like, well, it's not going to be, mate. That's the whole point. So there's a big dilemma there.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm trying to get my head around, is trying to make it seamless for the end user. Seamless-ish, right? So it's less drama for them. They go, okay, I'll plug it in, it looks a little different, and it still works the way the way I did email, sort of does the same job. where I put stuff does sort of the same job. It's just not on a box somewhere in the back room, just somewhere else. They don't need to know about that.
Silent install.
Yeah, just do it and then here you go.
If you're doing a silent install, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
There is that. There is the people who want to change to the cloud but not change. And Microsoft with their Office 365 is in the perfect position to be able to support that. My view of that is, why bother? It's just cheaper IT. And if that's what you want, fine.
Yeah.
But you're not getting any benefits from being on the cloud.
Yeah, because there's so much more to it. So with all those tools that come with it,
Yes.
that's when you get your headspace around, okay, well I can do these things slightly different way, or I can do this now that I couldn't do before.
Yeah.
That's the stuff I'm trying to instill at the moment.
We can use Conductor from 8Wire who will shift all our data out for us because we're now in the cloud and we can do that stuff as easily. But if I don't move to the cloud and then also embrace what the cloud brings, which is different ways of working and different things I can do, it's almost a cost-saving exercise, and also probably for a lot of people, it's being backed up.
Yes, there is that, yeah.
I mean, fair enough, you're getting that, but it's a lot of work just for that.
What else? Yeah, well, I'm looking at expensive video conferencing gear, for example. That you don't have to pay for anymore.
No, that's right.
You can do Link or Google Hangouts or whatever the other ones are. Apple's whatever. Well, not so much Apple's whatever. But anyway, you can do these other options. And suddenly people that can't be in the meeting rooms that have the VC conference facilities, suddenly you can just go on your phone and log in and be in the meeting, if it's meant to happen on the way to the client, So there's just more flexibility to do things that they don't realise they can do yet. Yeah.
So, Headspace is the biggest one. Headspace, I don't know what I don't know. Just bloody fix it. And then, for a lot of people, please don't break it and change it all because I've got to get on with my day job. And the last one is do something that fundamentally changes one of the processes in your business. So you no longer have to email order sheets out. You can just share them with a form. Yeah. Do something that fundamentally changes. It's simple but small. And then you will get buy-in for everything else because people go, that was so much easier. And I've got mail. Mail still works. It's not broken, but I've got this extra thing.
Yeah.
Do that. And then you can.
That's what eases them into it, doesn't it? All these new functionality.
Yeah, but don't do it silent install because it's fucking hard work to convince them to do anything else.
Well, it's just like you wake up in Wellington, go to sleep, you wake up in Auckland, suddenly you're in Auckland. What the hell happened? That's the end user's just freaking out.
Okay, on that note, there we go.
Moving on.
No events this week.
No.
All events are on the internet. Go and find them. KiwiFu is on this week, I understand. So hash KiwiFu on Twitter will get you to see all of the big brains that are doing KiwiFu up in Warkworth. And then next week is Webstock. So if you're in Wellington or around, come and sniff the Webstock gloriousness. And if you're going,
you'll
fantastic.
You'll be asked to events at all the various craft breweries and bars anyway.
Yeah.
Come and mingle.
And there's a few other events that we can't talk about that are happening. So we'll tell you about them afterwards. We're very lucky and fortunate that this week we've got Vaughan from Vend. He's the CEO and founder of Vend. We had a fantastic chat with him about where it all came from and his views on startups and some advice for anybody out there who is looking to do a startup. We caught up with him in Goldings. This is a fantastic chat with him, so please enjoy. This is Vaughan from Vend. Let's do this thing.
We're here now. We're here at Goldings again, studio number 1.
God, I've been in this place every day for the last 300 years, I feel like.
And you live and work here?
I do. This is your office, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think this is the only place I've ever seen you.
Yeah, well, it's true. Well, twice, to be fair. So.
Oh, that's still true.
It is 100% of those 2 times.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't even ask. Wish I met you. We just come here.
Yeah. It's not helping my liver or my stomach, I'm going to say. It's a fantastic place. It's a very hot, stinking day, and we've hired the private jet to fly Vaughan Rousel down from Vend. No,
so we can't use it again because that's the year's budget done, isn't it?
It's the decade's budget.
You're paying for the fuel, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, yes, we have Vaughan. Vaughan's down in Wellington for lots of other things. We thought we'd grab him before he gets into that and have a chat about what's it like to be Vaughan. And we're going to start with the question we always start with.
What makes you happy, Vaughan?
What makes me happy? You guys.
Oh, that's cool. Print. It's not done. It's not finished.
And that was a wonderful interview there with Vaughan, obviously. And, thank you very much.
We're clear.
I'm going to put it out on my LinkedIn and everything.
Yeah.
So,
What makes me happy? I don't know. I guess all the common things that make people happy. But you know what the best thing is? Friends. You know? Having good friends around you, especially when you're in startup land and you're having to, you know, throw yourself 180% at things, and it's not particularly easy most of the time.
yeah.
Having good friends that you can, you know, bitch and moan to, and who you know that's got your back. So if you're having a bit of a rough time, or even if you wanted to celebrate, just celebrating the wins is also really, really important. You know, having good friends around you that you can do that with.
Friends in the business or friends
Both,
out of the
yeah.
business?
You know, we're kind of cool in that we've built this business with a culture that, you know, everybody feels like they're friends. So, but you still need to have friends outside of the business, especially if you want to bitch and moan about the
That's what I was
business.
going to ask.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You need some, outsource some friends.
And you need
rather than moaning.
context. You need context as well, because you can get stuck in this bubble,
Yes.
thinking that, you know, the whole world looks, smells, and feels like Vend.
Yeah.
And so you need to have that reality check as well. So people on the outside who can, you know, maybe highlight the areas that are particular, you know, aren't particularly normal, and give you a bit of context. So yeah, friends, I think. Friends and family. I consider family friends.
Yeah, well, it's good to have them as friends, I've noticed.
It pays to have your family on the friend side of the balance sheet,
Yes.
not the enemy side, because you're kind of stuck with them. So
Yeah.
That can happen.
yeah,
You have to get on with them somehow.
So the non in the industry friends, that, you know, your old school mates, I suppose, or those friends who do something completely different. What do you tell them when they go, what are you doing? What are you up to nowadays? How do you express to those people?
I'd love it not to ask me, because they never understand what I'm talking about anyway. So
Because it glazed eyes quite quickly. yeah, okay. All right, mate, yeah. Just have another
Sounds
sausage.
good. Sounds good. Yeah. What do you-
yeah. Just stuff that isn't related to Vend, usually, you know, because, you know, that's one of the things you lean on your friends for, is to give you a bit of, you know, clear air and space, and talk about other things that might be interesting.
Yeah.
But it's not all Vend all the time.
No.
Even though I do quite like talking about Vend all the time, other people don't like listening about Vend all the time. So
Well, we're very happy to listen to it. To start us off, how did it start? The
Wow,
Vend story.
I mean,
It's actually before.
Who had the
once
big
upon a
idea?
time.
Yes,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Well, it depends on where you want to pick as the start of the journey. You know, always being in the tech sector and software, like, you know, it's pretty common to have your dream of one day having your own tech startup and living the high life, you know, living the dream. It's so glamorous. And I don't know.
You didn't see the air quotes, they weren't any, but I saw them in the eyes. The living the dream,
I
yeah.
looked sideways at you when I said it. So, I mean, that started, I guess, when I first entered the industry and started playing with computers and getting paid for it. I was like, yeah, this is cool. I want to have my own business one day and do something really big and make millions of dollars, you know, because that's what success is, right?
Yeah.
And
It's a measure.
yeah, it's like you build something from nothing, and which is, you know, the really cool thing is in this industry, so you can build something from nothing. All you need is a laptop and an idea,
Yeah.
and you're away. And so that's where it all started. So, you know, I don't know, I was 20 or something. So, you know, 20 years ago, it's, you know, it's been a bit of a wiggly route to get to where I am today. And then the idea for Vend came up, you know, around about 4 years ago.
Wow, so its birth was only 4 years ago.
Well, I knew then.
Yeah.
Very on the scale of things. Yeah.
On the scale of things, pretty young for a startup. And 4 years ago, that was like, had an idea, didn't have a line of code, and then started building something. Built Vend actually as a prototype, really. Mm-hmm. And the actual prototype became the product. So, you know, actually, there's large amounts of the prototype still.
I'd say there's still
in the
code in
product.
there that you go,
Yeah,
I
they
know.
can't get rid of it. They're trying to get rid of all my code, but it's still there. That's because it's high quality code.
Oh, Okay,
They don't need to get rid of it.
Part of DNA now, anyway.
Yeah,
It should be there, right?
Don't break if it's not broken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't think it's not broken.
So I probably get blamed for all the actual really severe bugs, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, you
I
can
don't
just say,
have
I
to deal
started
with
it, so you guys finish it, you know.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I don't have to fix them.
Yeah.
Came up with the ideas, done anything else. Come on, guys, it's details. Let's sort it out.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was 4 years ago, and then it's been a wild journey ever since. You know, it's funny. People ask, does it feel like it's been a long time or a short time? And it's like it feels like no time at all. Like not long or short. It's just like at the same time, it feels like I've been doing Vend forever, and on the other hand, it feels like only yesterday that we kicked it all off. So. But that's just part of startup life, is you just get totally absorbed in it. It just becomes your world, and you don't really think about anything else. So
it's gone very quickly though. In 4 years. 4 years is 4 years, as you say, and it is what it is. But it's gone very quickly from you having the idea to a team of 200.
200 now.
200, based mostly in Auckland. Is that fair?
About half in Auckland, 100 of us up in Auckland,
Yeah.
and then the rest spread between Wellington, Melbourne, San Francisco, Toronto, London, and Berlin.
Yeah,
Which is also pretty cool. You know,
that's very cool.
it was a few months ago where I realised that we had 24/7. So I could wake up at 3 in the morning and I could jump on HipChat or send an email, and there'd be somebody there
Somebody
to talk to,
doing Vend stuff somewhere.
Yeah, and that's kind of cool. And also, some pretty cool cities that we've opened offices in. So.
Oh, we've noticed the trend.
Well, it's part of the strategy, really.
Yes.
Is opening offices in cool places that I want to go visit.
Yeah. Why not?
Otherwise, I'd never go.
That's right, exactly. Yes.
Write it off. Business trip, yeah.
It's a reason.
Oh, sorry. Giving away some of the goodness.
But it's like part of our. It is actually part of our strategy. It's like we want to open offices in cool places, not just because they're cool places, but we want to attract great people, and great people like to live places where it's cool and there's a good quality of life. And when I say cool, I don't mean like super uber cool, just somewhere where there's a good quality of life and interesting people, and it's a fun place to live. Because generally, interesting people tend to congregate in those sorts of places. So.
We do, don't we?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Hence why we got our Wellington office.
Yeah. Of course. So 4 years ago there was you, an idea, then some code, and then now there is 200.
And then there was 4 years of pain.
How did you attract others to equally love the idea and the product and who was the first follower and then you went from there? What did you do? Go, this is going to be awesome.
Yeah, just tell the story, tell the big story, and constantly tell the story. Over and over and over again, because you never know who's listening. And it's the same story, slightly different story if you're talking to customers and why they should get on board and things, but generally there's also the other story, which is around why you are going to be the next big thing. And you don't have to go around saying that you're going to be a $1 billion business and all that sort of thing. You just need to talk it up and that you're aspirational, you're aiming high, and how to get there, and just tell that story lots. And so I started telling that story even before we had a product, and actually that's how we attracted one of our cornerstone investors, was a German investor, Christoph, who got in touch with me pretty early on in the story, because he heard me tell the story at an event in San Francisco. And this was one of those events, pre-launch events, where you don't even have to have a product. You just need to be able to talk shit and convince everybody that...
Articulate your idea and sell some.
And convince people that it's a good idea. And so I must have done that, because Christoph reached out to me the week after, asked if we could jump on Skype and have a chat. And to me, he was just some random German guy. But I was more than happy to tell him my story. And that's the thing, it's like, you never know. Like, he was just a random German guy, so I jumped on Skype and shared everything, my hopes, dreams, aspirations, numbers, all real.
Yeah.
And then we kind of kept in touch every other month or every month, I can't remember. Maybe it was every month. We kind of jumped on Skype and, I gave him a bit of an update on how things were going. And then about 9 months in, he asked if I needed an investment. And at the time I didn't, because I'd just secured some local investment. So, I probably did the wrong thing. I said no. Somebody is offering you money and you say no.
You don't need it. You don't need it.
No, but then a year later, we still kept in touch, and a year later, when needed some more money, I reached out to Christoph, and he became a cornerstone investor, and has invested several times since. And if I hadn't have been telling that story and had this random connection with him, then what I learned about Christoph on the journey is that he was the early stage investor behind Zendesk. And so, the thing that he liked about Vend was it was a very similar story, and he was hearing a similar story to the stories that he heard from the founders of Zendesk back in the day. So that's the key piece of advice I give people these days. It's like, just tell every motherfucker you meet your story, and be passionate about it, and think big and talk big, because you never know. And we've brought on a ton of investors who have all come through that approach where the first time I met them they were just somebody. You tell them the story, they get interested, and then at some point they confess that they're actually interested enough that they want to invest in your thing. I don't know if we're just particularly good at telling the story, or it just works, right? I think.
Well, you must have a good story as well. As in
You've got to have a good story.
As you say, it's real. You've got numbers that are real.
It's got to be real. You can't.
We'll be the next Google or the next. You
can't say stuff like that anymore.
No,
you can't bullshit people. Because you've got to back it up. And a story isn't just there is that whole myth of the elevator pitch. So you meet an investor and you've got 15 seconds to convince them that you're a thing and they should totally take a look at you. That's bullshit. I've never ever had that. All of our investors have come about from a long series of conversations, and it's always been months of conversations. And so just treat everybody you talk to as a potential investor, or a potential customer, or a potential fan, right? Because if you build a great story and it's compelling enough, then of course they're going to tell other people about this amazing thing that they heard about. And that's probably how you get your first customers. And that's how I got our first customers, was telling that story. And it's like, I know somebody who's in retail. They should have a look at your stuff.
That's right. I would say plant the seed. And it may not be that person will be that person that does whatever you need them to do. But if it's good enough, they'll pass the seed on. They'll pass that little gift that you've given them, and they'll go, that's nice, I'll pass a wee bit of that on. And eventually it will arrive at that person, or that place where it needs to be, and you'll get a phone call. Out of the blue, you'll know how they got there.
Because people are generally happy to help anybody out, right?
Yes.
It's just one of those things. So we like helping other people out. So you should totally leverage that. The best way to do that is, talk about your plight. Tell your story, but also talk about what your issues are. What are the next problems that you need to face, whether it's money or finding customers or whatever. And people generally want to help you, as long as you can articulate how it is that they can help you.
I'd like some help. It's not good. It's like, I'm struggling with this, and we've sort of got a handle on this, but we don't actually know what we should do here.
But that's actually quite common.
Could you give some advice, or could you introduce me to someone?
Sometimes you don't know what help you need, and that's why you just need to tell the whole story, because you might be talking to somebody who's a specialist in marketing, and you're telling them your story. Just by listening to your story and the challenges you're facing, they might identify areas that it's like, actually, you probably need help with this, because it sounds like you're struggling. And you might not even realise that.
So now you've got this. So technically, where is Vend? Is it hosted New Zealand? Is it?
You mean?
Yeah, like what's it built on? What platforms do you guys use?
Are you allowed to tell us some of this stuff?
You'll tell us what you can. And
it's all secret.
So what?
It's on computers.
The keys. It's on computers.
That's all you need to know.
Using code.
To be honest, I don't even know what tools we use anymore. Well, my code, I know what my code is built on. So it's all PHP and a LAMP stack, but that's kind of the legacy. But now we're using everything. And it's not a crazy idea to think that the LAMP PHP stack that we use may not necessarily be the majority of the code base moving forward, because we've taken an approach which is just pick the best tools for the problem that you're trying to solve. So the first version of Vend was very simple. It was just point of sale, but we've since expanded that out to be a whole bunch of stuff for retailers. Data analytics, e-commerce, payments, reporting, and we picked the best tools. One, we picked the best tool to solve the problem, but also two, from a talent point of view, we picked the best tool where we know we're going to be able to attract great people who know how to use those tools.
Those people are currently using this, therefore that will also solve it, so that's where we're going to go.
So Go is pretty cool and it solves these problems, and there's some cool people around who know how to use that tool, so let's do some stuff and see where it goes.
So you're not put in vendor's name shop, Microsoft shop, or an Apple
really.
shop,
I mean,
Flash shop.
There's a little bit of Apple shop there.
Oh, well, you're only on the iPad. Is that true still? Vend's product? Is that a thing that we will only because?
I don't know if it's will only because, but definitely it's part of our core strategy is to be pure native on iOS, and iOS as a platform is amazing. If you were to pick a tablet to use for retail, then the iPad and iOS is perfect. It has all the bits you need. But the original version of Vend was all HTML5 based, which meant it was any device, and we've got lots of customers who use Android and Kindles, for even sake.
There you
You run that
go.
on a Kindle.
There you go.
Wow. That's cool.
Kindle Fires.
Kindle Fires.
Oh, Kindles.
Yeah, the Kindles,
I'm reading.
Yeah.
I'd like to put what? Hang on, that's chapter 7.
And remember WebOS?
Oh, yeah.
Remember that old thing?
It's still around.
Yeah, we had one customer who, as soon as he found out that Vend could run on his WebOS tablet, he went out and bought a truckload of tablets. But we've since not moved away from HTML5, but we've also heavily investing into native apps as well on iOS. So that's been a big thing for us over the last year. Is focusing on the experience and making sure that the app runs fast but more importantly takes advantage of all of the native features of
built-in goodies.
Yeah. So
Well, these guys here at Goldings are
Talked about last week.
customers of yours, and
right.
we interviewed Sean last week, Sean Golding, and he just went through that. It was like, you started as a startup, had no tech, how did you get there? And and that was one of the things he mentioned. It was like, now that you guys are now using the built-in features of the IT, it's just wonderful. It's just wonderful.
So it makes him feel like a genius.
That's his line,
Yeah, because the devices are now truly magical, right? And retail is changing, and there's going to be a whole bunch of new magical experiences that are just going to feel so natural over the next few years, especially around payments and stuff. Using beacons. Beacons are pretty cool. I think we're only really scratching the surface on the whole sensor landscape, using sensors. Some pretty cool things you could do. We want to experiment with that stuff. It's still pretty early days, but this is really cool stuff. Over the last 20 years, we've been kind of obsessed by the internet about building web pages that do stuff right, but they're two-dimensional. They're kind of abstracted away from the real world. But now there's some really cool shit happening, and it feels like innovation has gone back to the its engineering roots of building shit, like building physical shit, like sensors and robots.
I see. Back to the yes.
So, obviously, it's the Internet of Things, right? So everything's going to be connected by the internet, but it's not just a boring web page that has animated GIFs. It's or GIFs.
Yes.
Hey, I'm on the GIF camp.
GIFs. Discuss that later.
You could do a whole,
But I have to use
a whole episode.
I talked to somebody else about it. I have to say
GIF on GIF.
lost in translation.
So that's pretty exciting. Me personally, I get pretty excited by that.
And that leads us on to, yes, you are probably most well known for being the Vend guy, though you've hooked up, there's 3 of you, is that right? It was Michelle, yourself, Michelle Dickinson, who you've also had on the podcast,
And Rab.
And Rab. I don't know Rab, I don't think we've talked about it. So the 3 of you.
Yeah.
Doing...
So we set up this new tech, this new initiative called OMG Tech,
That's right.
which is one I exclusively focus on getting young kids excited about technology. It's not hard to get kids excited about technology, but excited about how technology works.
Yes, doing things, but yes.
Yeah,
Making things happen rather than consuming it all the time.
Yes.
Yeah, how to build it, how to build robots.
And that's the physical stuff, isn't it?
That's the physical stuff. Yeah. So we run a series of workshops around the country, which exposes kids to programming, logic skills, but also how to build robots, how to design in CAD and do 3D printing, and you name it. We're building out a catalogue of workshops because the tech is going to change, and it's going to change really, really quickly. 3D printing is the thing right now, but in a year's time it could be something else.
Yeah.
So we're not so much focused on the actual tech, but creating really engaging workshops that get kids really interested in it. And creating a pathway for them because, playing with robots is not cheap. And so, how do we get kids interested in this stuff in a way that's accessible? So, it's not exclusive to, rich white boys who tend to be thrown at this area. We want to make sure all this stuff is accessible to, young, poor, brown girls as well, and in fact that's something that's really important to us is around diversity in these workshops as well. And so, we've come up with a pretty cool model where it's a one-for-one model where we parents can buy tickets to go along to a full day of workshops with kids playing with cool stuff and learning how to do stuff. And by buying a ticket to come along to the day-long workshop, you're actually sponsoring a kid from an area of the city that couldn't afford, could never ever afford in their wildest dreams to come along. And so it's a really cool model. And then, and we also make sure it's 50% girls and 50% boys. And it creates this amazing environment where you've got a whole bunch of kids that range from 8 to 14. Boys, girls, rich, poor, from a broad cross section of society. And kids that age, they don't give a shit.
No.
They don't give a shit. They just want to make friends and play with stuff, and it's incredible. It's
You did
really
that with
cool.
the robot's eyes? How'd you do that?
Yeah.
I don't care who you are, just tell me the answer.
right.
Oh, it's so cool. Yeah.
And just to see their eyes as they go home at the end of the day, and they're just inspired, and they've had access to stuff that they never thought they could, because it just seems so unreachable.
Unreachable is good, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Out of my world.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting
Just
it.
not in my world.
Yeah, just like the young kids that we talk through from South Auckland, they're like, I never ever thought I would ever get to do anything like this.
Yeah.
And they've kind of resigned themselves to, if you leave it too late, the kids kind of get it in their heads what they're going to be when they grow up. And it's kind of like, well, I can't really get into computers because it's too expensive. There's no way. So we're trying to break that down, and because anybody can design, build, innovate, do incredible shit as long as you've got the tools, as long as you've got access to it. And so that's our mandate. That's what we 100% focus on is giving the tools to kids. Doesn't matter who you are, what your background is. If you're interested in robotics, if you're interested in 3D printing, absolutely.
Fantastic. And that's
So the locations, whereabouts are they at the moment? You've got one in Auckland already, or is it on its way, right?
Well, so it's a roving workshop, and so we take it to the schools.
So it's not a place.
No,
It's a program that you
So you can bring it.
we can bring it anywhere, and we're just perfecting the model to make sure it's self-sustaining.
Just bring your own learning space.
Yeah, you supply the space, and we'll supply everything else. And so what we also do is, because every community has people who are pretty active, in a particular area of technology, whether it's a local school teacher who's really into robotics, and so they've got a whole bunch of kits, and they like teaching kids about robotics. But they're not so great at raising the profile or getting the kids in. But they've got an amazing workshop, and so that's what we do at OMG Tech. It's like we connect the inspirers, the people who have a passion and want to inspire kids to go that direction. So we connect them with kids and give them a format. And so we've run a few workshops around Auckland. Every workshop has been an amazing success. And so, once we're happy, we're going to experiment with a few more formats of the workshop. We're treating it like a startup. We're just going to try something and then tweak something and then try it again and see if it makes it better or makes it worse. And then once we're sure that it's a solid model, then we're going to open source it, and then anybody can run OMG Tech workshops anywhere in the country.
Right.
So then we don't become the weak link. So
The bottleneck.
yeah. So we create the format and the how-to, and then let it go.
I think that sustainable, making it sustainable, because there's a million ideas that come out, and they're given like one go, two goes, and you think, oh, that's so cool, and you never hear of them
There's
again.
no momentum or...
There's always a thing. And sustainable is, well, I think for these sort of programs, in my experience, the hardest thing to have is to be able to go, I want to be able to see this happening in 5 years' time, not just this summer.
If you seriously want to make an impact and change the world, which totally should be your aspiration when doing this sort of thing, you can't set it up as a charity in the traditional way people think about charities, which is somebody with deep pockets is throwing lots of money at it to save the world. You've got to set it up in a way that is fully sustainable, so it can stand on its own 2 feet. Doesn't have to make money, but it needs to be able to cover its own costs, and then you can truly scale that. And then you truly have a chance of changing the world, because you can build this model, you can build this rule book, and prove that it works, and then give it out to the whole world to run with. And so that's our big aspiration. Whether or not we'll achieve it, time will tell, but you've got to aim really high, and we're pretty confident that we've found a pretty good model.
Telling the story again?
There you go.
Telling the story again? That's excellent. That's what it's all about.
It is, yeah. And so, part of the reasons for OMG Tech is also, not self-serving, but, for a company like Vend or Xero or whoever, anybody in the technology space, in the next 5 years, there's going to be 5-10 years, I say 10 years. We're not going anywhere. I don't think Xero has any plans to go anywhere, and we don't have any plans to go anywhere. In 10 years' time, the tools that we're going to need to be having exposure to and having a good talent pool, and we don't even know what they are yet.
Yeah.
And so this is kind of like a long-term investment into the future of New Zealand. The tech scene is like the 8-year-old kids today, in 10 years' time, when they're 18, and they're looking for their first job. Imagine if we could arm them with all this experience on tools that we never really even thought that maybe 3D printing's a fad, maybe. Who knows? It's not. But 3D printing is going to lead on to the next evolution of it, and so on and so on. So I think nobody can really imagine what the opportunities are, how that's going to shape our future in 10 years' time.
But if you encourage and allow for them to grow up through that, as it grows, the industry, the tools, the things, and they're growing with it, then
and feel like they're normal.
With the old man going, you can do what?
It's
With
very
what?
normal for them,
That's fantastic. Could you come and do that for us? With your thingies and your robots and stuff? That'd be great.
Because, I had a similar journey myself in the 80s when I was a kid, and we got our first computer at home. And nobody had computers at home.
Name it.
Our first one.
Yeah.
Our first one was a Sega 3000. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we've been through a few. Had to think about that for a second. But yeah, we had the C64 and PCs. But yeah, back then, my mum brought home a computer one day, and it cost her a lot of money. All right, and she was a poor solo mum on a benefit, and she actually had to take out a bank loan, a second mortgage on the house, to buy a frickin' computer. And everybody thought she was mad. It's like, what? You should probably be buying food and shoes for your boys. But she brought on a computer because she had a hunch that computers were going to be the next big thing, right? Everybody's going to have one.
That's amazing,
and so we just normalised to it because we had a computer at home, and so we played with it and we experimented and we learned how to code and all that sort of stuff, and it set me up pretty well. What are today's kids? Computers. Like, computers are everywhere. What's the next thing? Is it having a 3D printer in everybody's home? Basic engineering, so you can actually build stuff out of components and... You
say computers are everywhere, but as Ryan said, though, mostly it's consumer-based. As in...
Still, for now.
It comes out computers and stuck in their eyes, and they wiggle them. The joystick. How many kids have got joysticks now? That's what I'm talking about.
What's a joystick?
What am I talking about? Yes.
It takes me back and
they touch the keypad and they do whatever, but most don't.
It's one-way traffic.
And I think it's that connection with, I can change that. I can make it do this.
Yeah.
As opposed to it does these things. I get choices, but it's what it.
I understand what's happening on the inside.
Yeah.
I understand what this thing is capable of.
Yes.
Not just what it does for me in my hand.
Yes.
What else could it do? You know, it's got a camera. It's got these sensors. It's got an accelerometer. It's amazing. Imagine if I could link all those things together and do this thing. Or this thing doesn't actually quite do what I want it to do. Imagine if I could print out a thing that
a whole new one,
augments it and change it slightly and make it do what I want it to do.
So having that, and it seems like you're instilling, you can't instill, you're forcing this into the young man's mind.
Making them think about it, maybe.
You're allowing them to go,
to think and to dream and to create, you know. It's the Lego of the mind, you know.
The Lego of the mind.
Do we have a show title?
Lego
I
of the
think we
mind.
have a show title.
The Lego of the mind. Actually, no, we need to modernise it. It's the Minecraft, no.
Even better.
Minecraft's the new Lego, huh?
You can actually get Minecraft Lego.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw it.
I know, I've had to...
Yeah, I'm looking to buy some.
I've had to... Anyway, we won't go there with that.
We've got offline Minecraft, kids. It's called Lego.
Which is 400% more expensive
But if you
than
step
the other
on
one, which
Minecraft,
is
it doesn't
exactly
hurt
the
as much.
same.
You know?
Yeah. But you could 3D print it.
Yeah, you can make more. That's cool.
Anyway, we digress.
We do. I had another question. It was going to be... Maybe talk about yourselves for a couple of seconds. I suspect this bit will be edited in.
I think we should keep this bit in. This keeps it real.
So while Mike thinks about what he's trying to think
Order
about,
some more drinks.
what else are you doing while you're down in Wellington?
Well, today I'm down for the EC Boys fundraising launch, which would have happened by now. So, hello future. This is the past. This is the past talking to you.
And your theory is, or your bet, your prediction is, by the time you've heard this,
but wow,
too late.
Hopefully,
yeah.
Well, by the time you've heard this, you've missed out. But yeah, they're crowdfunding a capital raise, and so
on Pledge Me, yeah.
On Pledge Me, yeah. And I'm thinking it's going to go pretty quick. Like, you know, I'd be surprised if they didn't get fully subscribed within 12 hours. In fact, I think it's going to be probably half that length, if not a quarter.
Just so everyone knows, we're recording this on the 28th of January. So there you go, there's the bet.
Let's see what happens.
Oh no, it's been recorded for posterity now.
That's right, yeah.
I hope I get it right. I'm pretty sure I am.
3 days time you can go, can you just edit that
I'll
bit
just
out?
ask you. I'll send you the email. Yeah, that prediction. Yeah, that's wrong. I don't want to sound like an idiot. No, but I think they're going to do really well. And so, you're down here for that. But also, this amazing weather that Wellington is having lately. I just couldn't keep away.
It's weird, eh? It keeps going. It's unusual.
Have you got your question yet?
No, it's gone.
Should
So
I?
Mike's left the building.
So that question has left the building. So on that note, because it's going to be embarrassing just both of you staring at me, I feel the peer pressure now.
Good.
Yeah, trying to get the answer. Thank you so much, Vaughan.
You're welcome.
It's fantastic. And we definitely have a show title.
Yes.
That's awesome.
So most people probably know this, but where can we find you online? If they don't know this by now, they're idiots. But anyway,
Well, I don't know.
where's the best place to see you online? Twitter's, the Facebook, Google Plus.
Twitters or the Facebook. Twitters, Ralphsall on Twitter, ROWSCLL. I've got a blog. Is that still a thing that people do blogs?
Still a thing,
It
right?
came back last year. It peaked. It hasn't gone away, but no, it's definitely.
Yeah, I've got a blog, 8degrees.co.nz.
Yeah.
It's very, very infrequently updated.
One of the highest links that we got, we shared your link about your calendar.
Right.
You talked about it,
Yeah.
the use of calendars and time. And it was one of the most retweeted
Really?
posts that we had.
I talk about random shit on my blog.
It was fantastic.
Yeah. And I'm thinking about starting a podcast now because apparently these are the podcasts are coming back into...
We make it look too easy, I told you.
Shit.
Yeah.
Zero's got the TV. They went straight for that. And I think they missed an opportunity to go podcast, TV, radio, video.
That's it. I'm totally doing the Vend podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the retail podcast.
Because if you want to get your story out, the best way is tell it.
Yeah.
We make it too easy.
Yeah, we do.
We'll help you set that up. That's okay.
I know how to do it now. I've seen all the secrets.
So you've seen the studio.
I'm not going to tell everybody.
All the machinery.
Studio and all the audio equipment I lug down here every week.
If you can get the guy holding the boom mic to just not stick it in my face all the time, that'd be good.
No, he just keeps picking his nose. That's what worries me all the time. Then he shakes people's hands. Yeah, anyway.
And on that delightful note,
Thanks a lot, Vaughan.
thanks a lot, Vaughan. That was awesome.
You're welcome.
Awesome stuff from Vaughan from Vend. He just had a great idea. He started a company and never looked back. It was an awesome interview. Thanks a lot, Vaughan. Hey, as always, don't take our jibber jabber as gospel, as all the links go up on the podcast post on #me.co.nz most Tuesdays. On Twitter, you can look for us on Access Granted NZ, and myself at NZ Raj, Mike at Miramar Mike. And if you want to email us, we're at accessgranted at #me.co.nz. And for all the other hashtag goodness, such as the updates, the news, some prizes, we should really give away some of those, and much more, go to #me.co.nz's website. Thanks for your time, and see you next Tuesday with the Kiwi tech people sharing their own stories. Ka kite anō.
#me.co.nz